I wanted to do something that brought together Israelis and Palestinians, and in this case, of course, the other Arabs as well.
The idea of just getting together these people from different countries from the Middle East, playing music, playing in harmony, so to speak, right? Through that common ground or common interest, there is, I think, a good chance for us to get into other topics and other ideas that we might not agree on, but at least we have a chance for dialogue.
Edward and I started it. It was a total experiment.
The first 2 days it was funny, you know, people are playing differently, but now they are like a team. Now I know how he plays and he knows how the way I am, so we actually have some connection when we are on the same stand.
It is one of the best kept secrets, you know, that there are so many talented Arab musicians.
There's lots of talent. I have a feeling, by the way, I don't know, but I have a feeling that with the group we have here, we were scratching the surface. I mean, there must be...
I am sure.
That feeling?
I'm convinced that you could really make an absolutely first-class Middle Eastern orchestra. Convinced.
I want this orchestra to be as standard like any orchestra, let's say in Germany or in Europe. And I want to perform in all the Middle East countries. And I hope the people can accept this. I mean, some people can really give us a chance to go and show them how we are very succeeded more than governments.
And for me personally, it was important to get to know individually people from countries I have no access to. It gave me important perspective on the situation. I think that's an important basis for every piece. Communication between the people and not just the governments.
I think a very important point is that it, in one stroke, did away for these people with the empty cliches that run around on both sides. When they heard Muhammad, the first oboe, play the Beethoven 7th, you know, all the Israelis, they were full of admiration that a boy from Egypt, nobody in his right mind in Israel would associate Egyptian people with oboe players playing the 7th Beethoven.
Whatever happened, they will not think the same way. Neither about music nor about anything else, in my opinion.
Israelis to me were something that's not human even. This is how I perceived it as a young boy, and it's something that isn't to be dealt with, something that should be isolated, because the only side we saw in Jordan is that of killing, of massacring even, of extreme brutality. That's the only thing I saw of Israelis. And for me to actually meet people that have the same interests as me and lead relatively similar lives, it changed my view of what a human being is almost.
I think it's terribly important for you to understand. There are 20% of your population in Israel who are not Jews, and therefore are citizens of a state that is defined as a Jewish state, although they are there as non-Jews, and this poses a real problem for democracy. And I think the question of identity has to be posed in terms of the future. That is to say, how do you deal with other identities who also feel that they have a place in that very place?
And I think that the dialogue is very important, because if you have a dialogue, it doesn't mean that you accept the other's point of view. It means that you have a chance, you have a forum to express your point of view. But I have not a great sympathy for the word tolerance. Because tolerance for me smells of something that you accept somebody although they are less good or less intelligent or less beautiful or less...
It's all
tolerance
different.
is not...
It's absolutely nothing is forced, nothing is planned, or simply it would be artificial not to talk about politics. It's such a central part of our lives.
I mean, it's not the main part. You know, we don't do it during rehearsals. But obviously you want to do it. You have the curiosity to see what they think, how they think.
Premio Príncipe de Asturias de la Concordia al excelentísimo señor Daniel Barenboim. Excelentísimo señor Edward Said.
It is culture generally, and music in particular, that provide an alternative model for the conflict of identities. My friend Daniel Barenboim and I have chosen this course for humanistic rather than political reasons, on the assumption that ignorance is not a strategy for sustainable survival. What is so heartening is how many young people have responded, and how, even in this most difficult time, young Palestinians have chosen to study music, learn an instrument, practice their art. Who knows how far we will go and whose minds we might change.
Edward was a symbol of Palestinian dignity, of Palestinian intelligence, of Palestinian culture, ambition. Edward had that very unique quality of having moral authority. His death for me was a catastrophe on every possible level.
We had 2 years no teachers and some, not good teachers. It was difficult, very difficult for us. And this year, from the Barenboim Said Foundation, they sent some teachers to teach in Ramallah. So we have a teacher now, and hopefully she will stay.
I sit sometimes with the orchestra beside an Israeli girl. Her name is Tal. My name is Tala. Her name is Tal. There's no wall between us. We're just like human beings. We're sisters.
What it did for their self-esteem, what it did for their dignity, this is the best arm against the stupid humiliation that they are subjected to daily.
Maestro Barenboim announced the intention, his wish, that we also go to Ramallah.
I think many people were quite afraid.
Imagine an orchestra with Arabs, Israelis, Palestinians, having them play exactly in the center of the conflict, spreading hope like sun spreads light. The dream of Edward Said is coming true.
I'm really proud and happy to be doing something to bring music, to bring a moment where everybody is not scared of the situation, actually hating it and willing to do something against it.